Hello, hello, hello. I am Grumm, coach and general manager of your Philadelphia T-Tars, and we are here to kick off our second year as a franchise, as a draft league player here in the WPF Delta Division. We find ourselves amongst familiar foes, Rose and Gentleman Thomas, foes we've seen afar, like Mr. TJP, Dashing Septile, and Soul Blaze, and foes we are seeing for the first time, like Indomitable Will, Wreck-It Mike, and Oro. The WPF Delta Division is just like any other Wi-Fi league. We're rostering 9 to 11 Pokemon. Our team cap is 110 points, but there is a little bit of flair as we do have a maximum of 2 Terra Captains with an open Terra format. This means our Terra Captain can be any type, as long as we disclose it before the match begins in team preview to our opponents so they know what they're getting themselves into before the moment arises. And really cool for the Terra Captains is any Pokemon can be a Terra Captain. Well, almost any Terra Captain, okay? Calm down there, Ogerpon Hearthflame, and calm down, Palafin, alright? But many of these Pokemon will have different costs to be rostered as a Terra Captain compared to being rostered as a non-Terra Captain. For example, Salamence is 13 points, but if I were to draft it and name it as a Terra Captain, it would suddenly jump to an immense 19 points. And for the first time ever in my career as a draft league battler, I am in a league where Revival Blessing is not banned. That means once per battle, a Pokemon with Revival Blessing can restore a fainted Pokemon to half health, essentially giving me, or my teammates, or my opponents, 7 Pokemon. I want you to keep track of that, okay? It's very important in this draft analysis. And speaking of the draft, buddy, we done got the number 1 pick. That's right. We got the entire board at our hands. They don't know what they did by giving me the number 1 pick. Let's go. I can't mess this up. We're not talking no Bryce Youngs, no Anthony Bennett's. We're taking Hall of Famers only at number 1, baby. Who's Fraba? All right. Thinking about the team at number 1, it is hard to know how your team is going to look when you're picking at 1. At least in my opinion. I mean, at least when I was at 16, I know I'm getting the 16th and the 17th best mons. But with 16 coaches, I'm picking between 1 and 32, and there is a lot of difference between 1 and 32. While I didn't know how my team was going to look, I knew that I wanted to take advantage of the Open Terra format. I mean, with so many Pokemon, including higher tier Pokemon like Iron Boulder, Annihilate, or even Great Tusk, all able to Terra, the options were plentiful. And I knew that I would want to continue to take mostly Pokemon that I haven't used in my career. I know we're going into the second year, so there's still a lot of good Pokemon to select from. But I knew that there was 1 or 2 Pokemon that I wanted to use as my comfort Pokemon. As I inched closer to the start of the draft, I felt a little bit overwhelmed. I knew how important the first pick of a team's draft is, but this is the first pick of a season. Multiply that by a lot of numbers, man. The upside of not having my first pick sniped was balanced out by the idea that I could be picking the wrong Pokemon at number 1. Now, with the eyes of the World Pokemon Federation, brother, on me, I knew that I needed to call upon the wisdom of the man known to the world over as the physical embodiment of bravery, the physical embodiment of confidence, the physical embodiment of the macho. That's right, I'm talking about the Macho Grumm.
Yeah, brother, yeah, let me tell you something. Go ahead and take that bird that's overpowered with terror, brother. Yeah, go get that one. Don't even second guess it, yeah.
So with the first pick of the draft overall, our first pick, we selected Tornadus Therian, aka Tornadus, to kick off year 2 of the Philadelphia T-Tars with a bang. The mono flying type Pokemon brings an insane toolkit with stab moves on both sides of offense with acrobatics for physical and a litany of moves on special side from Hurricane to Air Slash to the signature Bleak Windstorm. Add in some coverage moves like Crunch, Brick Break, Dark Pulse, Heat Wave, and Grass Knot, as well as utility with Knockoff, Taunt, and all the weathers. Key to it all though is the Regenerator ability, meaning that when it comes in, it can do what it needs to do and tag out to a partner to get its back some key health. With Tornadus as my first pick, I wanted to keep my options open Terra-wise and importantly my salary cap. You see, Tornadus was 17 points, but if I Terra'd it, it'd become 21, and that could be the difference between a quality teammate or nothing. I waited for what felt like days as the first round and the second round continued. Big names would be taken off the board. Terra Raging Bull, Terra Walking Wake, and Terra Zarude were all obvious, as were Spectrier, Palafin, and Terra Archaludon. It looked increasingly likely that we were going to grab the ideal second pick for Tornadus, the ideal tag team partner. I'm talking about Iron Threads.
What? Iron Threads.
What? Damn you, Skippy. Damn you to hell. You put hard times on. Thankfully, though, I was on the wheel, so I get to pair my picks. And I get decided that in the second round, I would pair Tornadus with an even better tag team partner. One made for it, the master of the forces of nature, Landorus T. Like Tornadus, Landorus is a flying type, but it adds the ground type, which allows it to eat electrical attacks as well as not being weak to rocks. It has a massive 145 base attack stat, which when you pair that with a respectable base 91 speed, it allows it to outspeed almost all Pokemon when it rocks a Scarf and Adamant max speed instead of going Jolly. That hits hard as hell, but even better is Landorus's intimidating look and its Intimidate ability, which allow it to, thanks to its ground and flying type, serve as a defensive pivot Pokemon, as the typing is really only weak to water and ice. Unfortunately though, this leaves my team with a horrible ice weakness. Do not leave it out in the cold this winter. Do not, it's not good. But I did find something to turn this fearsome duo into a dominant faction. Acknowledge the tribal chief of the Philadelphia T-Tars, Volcanion Reigns. The all-time leader in games played, knockouts, and tied it for the franchise lead in statuses spread. I could think of no better ice resist than the mythical fire-water type Pokemon. I think I can save us all some time and run through the basics of this Pokemon. We've seen it enough. Steam Eruption is a signature move that hits harder than a Hydro Pump with a 30% chance to burn like Scald. Its water absorbability means it allows Landorus to not worry about either of its weaknesses, and it can gain back some health with some water type moves hitting it, and the thing does not die. 80 HP, 120 defense, as well as a reasonable 90 base special defense. Volcanion is here to finish the job it began in year one and lead us to victory and a championship. I resisted it as much as I could, but Volcanion ended up being named a Terra Captain. Perhaps empowered by its performance in the BBR Scrambled, but by the end of the draft, I really liked how the team looked with the extra cap provided from not naming Tornadus a Terra Captain. Being named a Terra Captain means that Volcanion's power increases tenfold. It can become a Pokemon with a natural grass, fire, water stab, or it can become a Pokemon that has a reliable rock and fairy type special move coverage, or it can become a ground type to remove its electric weakness completely, only being able to hit by grass moves thanks to its water absorbability. All that, plus potential double up on the stabs, our tribal chief, Volcanion Reigns, has simply entered God mode. I waited another day or so before I got to pick, and I laid my head down to sleep and awoke with a dream. A dream that was inspired by reading the document once more. That's right, I am a Draft League player who can read and does read. Damn it, and this was the case I was rewarded for it. But before that treat, I needed to make sure that I got a spinner. With two Rock Weak Pokemon, I needed to reliably remove hazards, and while I didn't get Iron Treads, I did in fact get his distant relative. No, not Great Tusk. Come on guys. In the fourth round, I selected Donphan. Donph Ziggler is not your average show-off. Yes, he's able to remove rocks and set them up, but Donphan also backs a whopping 120 base attack as well as 120 defense with a good 90 HP stat, giving him good defensive and physical bulk. Equipped with EQ and body press to take advantage of those stats, Donph also has the vital moves such as Knockoff, Ice Shard, Gyro Ball, Roar, and even Encore. With its ability being sturdy, it can live any single hit from full health and show the world the present is a gift for a reason. That said, the greatest gift you could give someone like me is hitting the like and subscribe buttons. Going into 2025, I'm going to try to do some cool things in Draft League and beyond, and I want you to be a part of it. Trust me, you will not regret it. So go ahead, leave a like, subscribe. I consider it a blessing. It's a blessing that gives me life. The obvious segue is obvious, but remember how I said that the WPF Delta Division was the first league that I've been in that allows revival blessing? I didn't know that until I read the league doc. Last Respects and Shedtail banned. Sorry, Pogmorn. But Revival Blessing would be allowed to be used exactly once per match. This is a move that when used brings back a fainted teammate to half health, just like the in-game item, the Revive. And exactly 2 Pokemon learn this move. Smeargle doesn't even learn this move. Rabska learns this. And our 5th round pick, our other Terra Captain, Pawmot. Pawhaymont is the first Pika clone Pokemon to evolve, and it wasn't enough to just give it one of the most one-sided moves in all time with Revival Blessing. No, it also has a signature move, Double Shock, which is a base 120 physical electric move that removes the electric type from the user, which doesn't necessarily affect Terra Electric Pawmot, as it can have its type change after a Terra, meaning it keeps its electric stab. It also gets access to Nuzzle, Knockoff, Volt Switch, Super Fang, Wish, Mach Punch, Upper Hand, and a whole smorgasbord of moves, including Celebrate. And sure, that last one doesn't do anything at all, but it is still super cool. And we will be seeing a lot of Pawhaymont celebrating this season. And that's not a prediction, that is a spoiler. Kinda like how Ducky spoiled my plans of drafting Azelf for this team for a fast Healing Wish Pokemon 2 picks before I was set to select it, forcing me to take things a bit slow as I tinkered with the team.
Oh brother, this guy sucks.
These really might be some of my worst segues into my picks, but in the 6th round, I selected Slowking, the base Johodian form, another water type that would serve as a constant bulky water for when Volcanion would switch out of its water typing. Slowfie Kingston aids this team with its ability to tank as a reliable pivot thanks to its own regenerator ability. It also has access to Chilly Reception, a move that allows it to summon the snow and to switch out to a partner Pokemon. And with 4 teammates able to learn Weather Ball, suddenly it gives the likes of Tornadus and Volcanion a 100 base power special ice move to hit Dragon-type Pokemon. Additionally, Slowking has the ability to support with T-Wave, Psychic Noise, and set screens as well, on top of being a potential threat to sweep thanks to store power and setup moves like Iron Defense, Amnesia, Calm Mind, and even Trick Room. To kick off the 7th round, I wanted a Pokemon that I've really been looking at for a while. And buddy, it is Tinky time because we selected in the 7th round Tinkaton, one of the 2 available Steel-type Fairy types in the league. Tinkaton is the ultimate supporting character. You want to spread paralysis? Tinkany Stratton's got you. You want some utility in Rocks, Knockoff, Encore, Taunt? Yep, it's Tinky time. You really want to get things cooking. This pink little girl has Swords Dance with Play Rough and a signature move called Gigaton Hammer, which is a base 160 power steel move with no drawback. I guess it can't be used consecutively, but who cares about that? This is the ultimate support Pokemon with a whopping hammer to swing. A wonderful addition to the team. I couldn't enjoy it for too long because Ducky again, 2 picks before me, selected a Pokemon that I had lasered in on, Grafaiai, which left me up the creek without a paddle. I don't know, I'm all out of segues to lead into our next pair of picks. I just wanted to point out that Ducky sent me twice, and if things go well for me, it is bad for this league. But if they go horrible for me, it is not my fault. Ducky set me up to fail, okay? Glad we said that. But for another scramble to figure out who to draft, the Snipe may have actually been proven a blessing in disguise, as while I wanted Grafaiai as a normal type and a grounded poison type, I opted to split the little ink monkey into 2 Pokemon. The first being none other than the PM7 fans themselves, or should I say, the Dudley family, Mousehold. The Dudleys were the first Pokemon to learn the move Tidy Up, which serves not only as a setup move similar to Dragon Dance, giving the user +1 attack and speed, but it also clears the field of all hazards and substitute, which is great because everyone loves to put down hazards and get behind a substitute and wreck your team. Not happening. You add in also its also one-time signature move, Population Bomb, which can hit for up to 10 times. With base 20 power doesn't seem like much, but it is able to be boosted by Mousehold's Technician ability. So with a moveset that also includes Super Fang, U-Turn, Encore, Taunt, Thunderwave, and more, the Dudleys are not your average family of small, cute critters, so watch out for them. Watch out for them. The 9th pick was set to be the grounded poison type of the split. I needed a grounded poison type that could be able to stand up to fairy type. but look ground types in the eyes and put the fear of God in them. And that's why I picked the original grass starter, Venusaur. Sora del Rey is a fierce Pokemon who can serve both supporting or as a sweeper in the sun against our opponents. This is the second time I've been using Venusaur, but with how poorly I played with it in the second season of the BBR D-League and how late in the season I picked it up, I thought it needed a fair shake. Good bulk, good potential to be a problem. Venusaur is a quality option at the end of the draft for me to get. Thankfully, as we neared my final wheel, we were able to finally draft our intended Pokemon, no snipes. And with 2 regenerator Pokemon, as well as Pokemon who could bring back someone back to life from the dead, I could think of nothing better than closing the draft with 2 Pokemon capable of bringing the almost dead back to life. Firstly, in the 10th round we selected Farigiraf. The Gen 9 evolution of Girafarig, this Pokemon can really take a hit and keep on going so long as it's not a dark type move. Raffi the Giant has a whopping 120 HP stat and Wish, which means that could bring back almost any of its teammate back to full health, especially with Baton Pass. But don't overlook its 110 special attack either, especially with Nasty Plot or Calm Mind. This giant can really become a wonder of the world before you know it. Rounding out the team is another Pokemon back for another go of things as a T-Tar. Hoping it ends better this time is Dasha Banks, the Dash Bun. Now on Tour 2 with the T-Tars, this fairy bred dog shares a similar role to Farigiraf as a Wish Passer, but can also help check fire types in the cases when Volcanion tears out of its fire water typing, thanks to Dash Bun's well-baked body ability, giving it +2 defense and a fire immunity. It can further support the team with phasing and roar, breaking screens with Psychic Fangs, or just tanking hits. You gotta love a little guy who can do the things you need it to do, right? So there you have it, the opening day roster for your Philadelphia T-Tars in the Delta Division of the World Pokemon Federation. Did I make a mistake by taking Tornadus with the first pick and not naming it a Terra Captain? Or did I make a mistake valuing Palmot's Revival Blessing so early? Let me know in the comments below what you think of this team this season and how you think we'll finish the season. We begin our 8-game regular season with a Week 1 game against Skippy's Steel City Surge. I look forward to seeing you all there, but rest your voices, because we're going to need your war roars sooner rather than later. But until then, I am Grumm, and if no one has said it to you yet today, let me be the first one to say it to you. I love you. Peace.